Donk Nation, Jackson, Janet's greetings and welcome to your Daily Dose of Donkey with Jinja. It's your boy, the Viking Donkey, as excited as can be because it's a new season about to start. Fresh beginnings. No one outside of Detroit and Kansas City has a record. Gingy, Laskers here, starting the season. Steeler talk. How are you boys doing?
Gingy in the house. Welcome to week 1. Fellas, oh my gosh, my favorite time of year. We are stoked to get back in the action. Ready for some football. Laskers. What it do?
Hey, apparently Laskers disappeared here, Gingy.
I'm good. I'm here.
Okay.
I'm good. I'm here.
I figured you were so excited for football that it made you speechless.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
All right. Well, we got some housekeeping things to get rid of to start this, I guess. Me and Gingy last week, Super Bowl predictions, division winner prediction. Laskers, AFC North, who's winning the division?
Of course, the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm going to play the homer on that one.
Let's go.
Fair enough. And your Super Bowl aspirations, who's going there?
Yeah, that's a tougher one. You know what?
Don't worry, he put me on the spot too.
I'm going to go Philadelphia Eagles versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. Let's go Pennsylvania teams.
Pennsylvania Bowl. Oh my God.
I see that. I like that. Before we get into breaking down the first week of the game, Acrisure Stadium, first home opener in a long, long time. But any football news out there that got Gingy or Laskers excited? Or how about Detroit being the best team in the league right now and the Kansas City Chiefs the worst? Any of that exciting stuff for you guys?
And Patrick Mahomes leading the league in pick sixes. Also,
it's not his fault. Kadarius Toney can't catch a football. Now they're figuring out why the Giants let him go.
But can really see that coming with the absence of Kelsey over there. I understand that he's a tight end, but in Kansas City world, he's a big part of that offense. So not having him on opening night, I'm sure was trying, and it showed with 20 points that they scored. So
let's not forget,
just excited to get back
no
to
sure-handed receivers on that team. You look, they have Marquez Valdez-Scantling, known for dropping the ball all the time from Aaron Rodgers. Kadarius Toney got let go of the Giants because he couldn't catch a football. And Sky Moore, he doesn't have very good hands either. I'm telling you right now, if there's a team that should be looking for a sure-handed wide receiver, it's the Kansas City Chiefs.
I definitely
agree with that.
I don't think there's much other football news. You guys got any stories I don't know about?
I definitely don't.
No, been really kind of looking at how that Steelers roster's panning out. I was mentioning it before the show to you, Donkey. Ogunjobi. I was keeping my eye on that this week. I was really hoping to be able to, see him get some time as one of the premier guys on that defensive line at this point.
I'll say it once, I'll say it again. I hate signing big guys who have soft tissue leg injury history, and that is Larry Ogunjobi. I don't think the dude's played a full season since his second year in the league. Handing him out that big contract, I said when we did it, made me nervous. Because I just don't think he's the type of guy who ever stays healthy. And, well, we're already seeing it. He's, limited with a foot, might not play this week. Luckily, it sounds like Cam Hayward's fully back from his did not participate on Thursday, being ready to go. But before we get to breaking down the Steelers, the Niners, let's get into the history of this series. We have played a whopping 22 games. The Niners hold the edge. The Steelers are 10-12 against them. At home for Pittsburgh, we're 5-6. The current 2-game winning streak, though. On the road, we're 5-6 with a current, I think it's a 3-game losing streak on the road. But really, it's a home one, so let's keep that streak going. The largest win in the series was San Francisco by 28 points, 31-3 in 1954. Biggest wins for the Steelers was 27. That'd be 27-0 in 1977. The longest streak is both teams have won 3 in a row. That'd be Pittsburgh from 73-78 and the Niners from 90-96. No big surprise there when both teams were in their dynasty. They own the other franchise the whopping 3 times we play a decade, it seems. The current streak is San Francisco won the last meeting, if you guys recall. And, of course, that meeting came September 22nd in the year 2019. So last year pre-COVID, we could call it, I guess. And that was a 24-20 win by the San Francisco 49ers. That was at San Francisco. That is the series history. That's what we're looking for. Do you think the Steelers get something big out of playing a team that, let's be honest here, the history is very limited for 2 teams that have been there since the beginning, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And ironically, I don't think we've ever played them in the playoffs because the only way we would have done that was a Super Bowl.
Right, and Donkey, I don't know if you believe the talking heads and whatnot. San Francisco is going to be one of the competitive teams in the NFC, which, granted, those might be few and far between, but they are still present. So if that is indeed the case, I think this is a great measuring stick for the Steelers to come out and sort of gauge where they're at, see where the strengths and weaknesses lie, and specifically go against an offense that particularly likes to run the football, from my understanding.
They certainly do, and when you look at this Niners team, we'll get Laskers into this on the thing, their strength is more so skill position players on offense, and then the front 7 guys on defense. Like, the secondary is their weak point, and their offensive line is going to be the big question mark for them this year. I mean, they're coming in with a left tackle and Trent Williams, who I believe is like 78, 97 years old now. I mean, the dude's been playing since I can remember, so good for him, still out there, still being one of the best left tackles in the league, by the way. But at some point, Father Time has to catch up with him. The middle 3 in their line are okay guys, nothing really special, in my opinion. And then they lost the right tackle, McGlinchey, in free agency, arguably a top 10 tackle, period, but probably one of the top 2 or 3 right tackles in football. And as you know, coming off that right tackle is none other than TJ Watt. That's going to be scary for them. I hope Colton McKivitz is totally ready. Guy, 6th, 7th round draft pick, 4th year out of West Virginia. Not much playing time playing behind a guy like McGlinchey. That's somewhere the Steelers can look to exploit. But look at these skilled position players. I mean, if you just say Elijah Mitchell, that's an explosive running back. Oh, but wait, he's the backup. There's Christian McCaffrey there. You go to wide receivers, Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk. I mean, heck, their fullback is out there making plays all the time, right, with Juszczyk. And then, of course, I left the best for Laskers. That's George Kittle. He is questionable with the groin, but you have any question the way that this guy's going to play, especially since he's been talking up TJ Watt and how he's going to shut him down since, 4 months ago? Laskers, the skilled players on the Niners, they're scary.
Oh, they're definitely scary. And George Kittle is definitely one of the elite tight ends in the league. I mean, yeah, he has injury problems, so if he shows up to the game, it's going to be interesting.
Now, Gingy, what I want to bring over to you is I left someone out of the offense and on purpose, I'll say. That's the starting quarterback, Brock Purdy. The young guy had some good success, but when you watch the tape, it's a lot of open wide receivers he's throwing to. Young guy, not much expected from going into a second year. There's tape on him now. Remember, you get about 6 games on tape on a quarterback. That's when you really get to see him. How do you think the Steelers deal with this young rookie quarterback phenom from last year going into second year? Superstar in the making, we hear all the time, Brock Purdy.
Yeah, how do Steeler defenses typically deal with young superstar quarterbacks?
Well, they typically turn them over quite a bit and make them, as a good old Tunch used to say, give them paralysis by analysis by throwing zones you've never seen.
Serving up big apple turnovers to them. Donkey, they're in their face. They turn them over, flop them on their head most of the time, at least 3 or 4 times a game. And I wouldn't expect anything different here. Listen, I understand Brock Purdy has had some success, and the way that Niners offense is built, if their run game is working, it will lend itself to some open receivers. I can see why he has success in that system. But again, with the young guys, if he's got talent, when everything is going good, it'll go great. If that rhythm gets disrupted, if he's got hands in his face, if he's got that big mitt, that big paw, of Hayward out there trying to knock that ball down, shutting them lanes. That rattles some of them young guys. And when they start making poor choices, Minkah Fitzpatrick and the rest of the secondary takes advantage.
That's true. And honestly, a lot of times with the Kyle Shanahan offense, you could just put the popcorn vendor in there at quarterback and you'd be successful. Obviously, Laskers, one of the biggest keys when you're playing a San Francisco 49ers offense is, especially a Kyle Shanahan thing, make them play behind the sticks. You cannot let them be on par. You cannot let them be moving 4 or 5 yards on first down. That means the Steelers' defense, and typically where we're weak up the middle, has to be able to stop the running game of these two big running backs in McCaffrey. Well, not big running backs, but big name running backs in McCaffrey and Elijah Mitchell. That is where it has to start. We have to put them behind the sticks and be able to bring those pressure packages, don't you think?
Oh, yeah, no. If we stand any chance, you got to stop the running game, period. You can't let them run the ball because they will destroy us running the ball.
And now, Gingy, I'm not going to lie. I'm a little nervous about the matchups here. Do you like any of these matchups in the Steelers' favor? You're talking Brandon Ayuk on either Levi Wallace or Patrick Peterson, or you're talking Deebo Samuel on either of them. And then when Deebo goes into the slot, you're talking we put out the first depth chart, and it says Shandon Sullivan won that slot corner position. Do you have faith in Shandon Sullivan being able to stop Deebo Samuel in the slot? Or better yet, how about George Kittle going up against Cole Holcomb? Any of these matchups make you really go, man, we're in for a good ride?
Well, if you frame it like that, yeah, we will be in for a ride. Typically what we've seen in the past is what's going to gouge the Steelers. Big runs up the middle, big tight ends up the seam. Pretty standard operating procedure. Pretty standard operating procedure. And the 49ers have the weapons to pull that off. The only disruption that we're going to see in that is our two fairly highly vaunted Steelers ends, Alex Highsmith and TJ Watt. If they are in there doing their thing, that is going to stop the 49ers from doing their thing.
That is my key matchup of the game, Gingy, right there, is Pittsburgh Steelers, TJ Watt going up against new guy Colton McKivitz out there on right tackle. That's my key matchup. The other matchup I want to see is not so much Alex Highsmith, because I know what he can do. I want to see little baby Herbig when he gets in there going against this, because he said to be backing up Highsmith on that side, going up against the wily old vet and Trent Williams, or that's Trent Williams, right? Yeah, pretty sure I said that right. That's the matchup I'm really looking for. Those ends getting out there, but specifically the Watt one when we're on defense is the matchup for me to watch. Key, Gingy, as always, you can't let these receivers get over the top, right? You got to make Brock Purdy be slow, methodical, and not make mistakes, right? You can't give him it.
Yeah, we don't need any blown coverages. I mean, that's for certain.
Now, we get to the offensive side of the ball. We get Kenny Pickett going into his second year. This is a Kenny Pickett who won, 7 out of 12 starts or 7 out of 10, something like that. You're talking a guy who's perfect in the preseason. Does the preseason matter, Laskers?
No, preseason does not matter. You're playing against second and third string guys. It don't matter.
As I like to say, week 1 is the preseason now, Gingy. But let's talk about the Steelers. Let's talk about the weapons we have here. You're talking, I know he didn't catch a touchdown last year, but a guy who a lot of people still see as a top 20 receiver in Deontay Johnson. A lot of people see a budding superstar in George Pickens. Pat Freiermuth in almost every circle is already a top 10 tight end. While Najee Harris might not be the explosive back you want in a first-round pick, he is a solid workhorse-type running back mixed in with a speed back like Jaylen Warren. You have a slot veteran like Allen Robinson or a speedster in Calvin Austin III. The Steelers aren't lacking too much on the weapon side either.
No, I agree, and we've seen some good parts of that offense. We've seen Calvin Austin really pick up the Claypool role on terms of the end arounds and the gimmicky run plays and the motions,
running straight and running fast.
Yeah, he pretty much substitutes really well in there. Where Claypool was in there last year, Calvin Austin is running those plays. We've seen some of that in the preseason. I really like that as a dimension. I'm really excited to see, who Kenny Pickens sort of develops, his relationships with. Who's his go-to? Right now, it seems to be like George Pickens. Can there be enough spread around to get Deontay Johnson in that mix? That's waiting to be seen. I'm really excited about two really, really solid options at running back. Yeah, you could knock Najee Harris, and if we didn't have another equally viable back in the backfield, I would probably have more reason for concern. But I'm fairly excited to see what a dual-headed monster like Warren and Harris are going to be able to put together out there. A lot of things to be optimistic about, Donkey.
Yeah, Najee Harris is essentially David Montgomery. If you watch the Detroit game at the front one, what we're going to try to do is do what Detroit did there. You saw Gibbs came in to be the explosive runner. That's Jaylen Warren. You saw Montgomery just get in there and get those 5 yards into the little scrum. That's exactly what you want Najee Harris to do. The Steelers have improved the interior of that line. You're going into a second year with Daniels and Cole working together, and then you add in Simualu, who everyone seems to think is just a great football person who understands it, and if he stays healthy, is one of the best left guards in football. The big question here, and this is before I even get to talk about the Niners defense, our tackles are still Chuck Okorafor and Dan Moore Jr. That still leaves a little bit to be desired, Laskers.
Oh, it definitely is a little bit to desire. And hopefully, maybe they'll actually show up this year and we'll all be impressed.
That's what I'm hoping for. Now, Gingy, the Niners side of the ball, Bosa just signed his contract. You know that means that dude's going to be playing and that dude's going to be rushing our quarterback. That's not what you want to hear. They also signed Jay Wobble, Javon Hargrave, big name. Steeler fans should know who he is. He goes down there to San Francisco. He had him beside Eric Armstead in the middle. That's a pretty scary front four that the Niners have there.
It really is. Dan Moore better buckle up this week. All right. Because he's going to be going against Bosa on that side, I believe. Am I correct, Donkey?
That is correct. But do remember, Dan Moore Jr. tends to do good against those speed rushers. I'm looking at Myles Garrett. The only game, and we should keep Dan Moore Jr. forever for this, is he plays amazing against Myles Garrett. Can he do the same thing against Bosa?
I don't know, Donkey, but we cannot have Kenny Pickett getting hit back there all game long. If this recipe for success is gonna be the recipe, man, then we need to be able to protect the quarterback. That's been consistent, right? I've heard some really good things about Simualu's presence on that front line, really taking a strong role in helping shape the identity of that line. I've been hearing some good things out of there.
That's true. And now when you get to the Niners, that front seven solid because you're talking arguably the best linebacker in football. Fred Warner's right there playing in the middle. He's going to be a tough guy to get past. And really, in my opinion, being able to control him in the running game is going to be the Steelers' key to success, Laskers.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
And then, Gingy, we get to the second half of the Niners. This is where maybe exploitation can take place. As you look at these names at corner out there for the Niners, there's not a whole lot when you get past Charvarius Ward. Now, let's be honest here. Charvarius Ward is a lockdown type of guy. He's probably going to take whoever he's covering out of the game. But after that, you're talking there could be a lot of open space for whoever the number one option isn't to really step up and make a play. And the guy that I'm really looking for to have that type of game is Freiermuth.
Oh, and he's shown signs of that last season, right? Good target in the red zone. Fantastic. I'm waiting to see how this Steelers identity forms, right? We've talked about the different options that they have through Deontay, through the Pickett to Pickens, through the tight ends, dual-headed running backs. I'd like to see an identity be formed, of course, being the Steelers classic homer that I am, starting off the run game and having that lead to the play action in the longer shots downfield. But that only all comes together if Pickett is given the time to let those plays develop.
Truth. And Laskers, maybe there's a secret weapon that we saw in the preseason that isn't really given a position because he shows up on the depth chart a couple times. But maybe Baby Hayward, and if you watch the preseason or the end of last season, made some big plays. Maybe Baby Hayward is going to be a key to success this week.
I hope he is. I mean, it'd be awesome to see him perform and be the person that we need.
That's for sure.
Donkey, I want to chime in on Hayward. I think that he's one of those personnel people. You know how we've talked about with the Steelers for a few years? They come out in these packages, and the packages that they perform in are very, very telling of what's going to perhaps happen next on the field. I think Hayward is one of those matchup busting, package busting guys where you can put him out on the field and you're not quite sure how the Steelers are going to proceed in that next play.
So you're saying he's not Gunnar Olszewski, where I know it's either going to be a screen pass or a reverse every time he's on the field?
That's correct. You might just hit him right up the seam for 35 yards in a big tut. I've seen that happen.
That's true. Now let's get into the fun part of the game, the kicking part of the game. I don't really want to talk about the Niners kicking guys because Moody and whatever the heck their punter's name is, they're both pretty solid guys. I want to talk about the Steelers. Are we going to get a good Chris Boswell, Laskers? You called him your X Factor last year. Are we going to get a good Chris Boswell this year?
Wishnowski? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, sure.
And God, I hope we can, because he definitely let me down last season.
I was actually pretty close for trying to remember his name from memory, so I'm glad I got mediocrely close. And the big press, Shankopotamus, which one are we getting this year, Gingy?
Come on, man. We just need someone to punt the ball away. Okay, we don't need anything extra. I don't necessarily need a punter that can kick it 75 yards, but I'll take one that,
do.
I would like that, but seriously, I'll take one that downs the ball inside to 29 out of 10 times.
7 for 7 one of the preseason games, or it was 6 for 6, Gingy. So,
okay, that's what I like to hear then, Donkey. That's where we're at. That's the level I want to be at. Nothing fancy at that position. That position's not made to make the Sports Center top 10, Donkey. It's just not. I want reliability and consistency, and I don't want it getting shanked off the side of the foot for 25 yards out of bounds.
Fake punts at your own 20 wins football games. I watched Detroit play Kansas City. I know what we need to do.
Oh my God, please. Can you imagine?
Needs to show the hell
can
up,
you imagine the size
Miles
of the piece of bubble gum that's going to be noshed on the sideline to make that play come to reality? That Danny Smith is going to have a whole pack in his mouth chewing on it at one time.
Dude, he's using that whole 100 case of double bubble that it comes in the big bucket.
The bucket. He's got the bucket double bubble. That's a fact. And he takes a handful at a time. A handful.
He has a assistant coach and whole job is just to unwrap the double bubble that's in the bucket so he doesn't have to waste his time.
That'd be a sweet job. Sign me up. I'll unwrap the double bubble. Hang out on the sideline. Let's go.
All right, Laskers, I'm going to go to you first on closing thoughts in this matchup between Pittsburgh and San Francisco. No one spoil your picks because that's coming later. But give me your closing thoughts on this matchup and how the Steelers and Niners match up. Wow, I use that word a lot there.
The biggest thing is the Steelers got to stop the run, and also the Steelers got to get their own run game started. I mean, how are you going to open up the passing game without the run? So start your running game, but stop theirs.
Fair enough. J.
Wise words, Laskers. I'll double down on that. And in addition, going to talk about no stupid mistakes. What do I think of stupid mistakes week 1? I think of personal foul calls. I think of getting too excited, getting in somebody's face, and acting a fool. Got to knock that out week 1 real quick. All right. I think of bad turnovers, fumble rooskies, making ill-advised throws. The combination of those things plus what Lasker said is going to be my closing thoughts on that matchup. That's going to be the key to success.
I'm going to break it down. I have two matchups I look at. TJ Watt needs to win this football game. It's that simple. McGlinchey's not there anymore. New guy who was like a 7th-round draft pick for a reason. TJ Watt needs to win that matchup. Number 2, Najee Harris needs to get over that 4 yards of carry. I think those two things happen. That's the way the Steelers are going to have success in this game. But Gingy, before we get to picks, there was a bit of Steelers news I thought would make you the happiest ever. The Space Cadet himself, Mr. Deontay Johnson, wants to retire in black and gold. Dig it?
Hey, let's put together a little career over here. All right. If there is one thing that I continue to value, Donkey, that is loyalty, consistency. That's a real leadership type of move, in my opinion. And that is definitely a way that guy can contribute. But Donkey, he's always going to give my heart palpitations running north and south, and not east and west, not north and south. You know what I'm saying?
Is being consistently inconsistent consistency?
Yes, it is. But I want to see it consistently. No. And his play on the field is another matter to discuss. But we've talked about those young Steelers, and he's still a young guy, but literally a veteran in that locker room at this point. And to see that level of commitment from him has to do some good for the team.
The leadership role he took last year, when even he was having a year he didn't like, the way when Pickens would have little moments, he would go over and like calm him, gave me so much more respect for Deontay. You know this. I talked about it last year, that maybe his value isn't going to come from being elite there, but being a guy who people want to be around and being that leader that brings everyone together. I like it. I hope it works out, and I hope he has, let's say, the skyrocket potential of another wide receiver that the Steelers had a few years back. But I guess it's time to go to picks. We're not going to start with the Niners. We're not going to start with the Steelers. We're going to start with the Bengals playing the Browns at Cleveland. Laskers, who you got?
I got the Bengals by 7.
Ginger.
Do we have any IR reports on any of that? Do we have any vitals out?
Holy cow!
You're asking way
too many
Listen, I learned to ask this because
I
did not pay attention to this during the Chiefs-Lions game and regretted choices that I made after I understood that Kelsey was not in. So I need this information to make an informed decision. I do.
Well, you're going to make an informed decision because no one knows.
If there is nothing notable,
the only person that's out for the Bengals is their defensive end, Joseph Asaya.
That's relevant. But give me
backup D end.
Give me
rotation guy.
Give me the Bengals by 10 on the road. God, I have no faith in the Browns.
You want me the injury report for the Browns?
No.
What's that?
Hang on.
While Laskers looks that up, I take the Bengals by 2 scores. I don't really know which version, but more than 9.
10. Yeah, there you go.
Most of the things are non-injury related. Marquise Goldwyn's out with illness.
Oh,
limited practice.
I'm surprised he's still.
Thornhill is out with a calf. Did not practice. Denzel Ward, concussion.
That's a bad one.
He was out full participant on Friday. It looks like.
Oh, okay.
And then Alex Wright was a full participant as well, defensive end.
Yeah, give me the Bengals. That team is beat up on week 1. Holy smokes!
And I missed 2. I missed 3 guys that were non-injury related rest.
That's just off days. We give that to Cam Hayward every week. Yeah. We got the Houston Texans going to the Baltimore Ravens. Gingy, who you like in that one?
Give me the Ravens. Give me the Ravens on that.
Laskers.
I'm also gonna take the Ravens on that one. I don't like it. Me
too. And as Gingy knows, I say the Ravens go 14-3 this year, and Lamar Jackson's the league MVP. Neither here nor there.
Holy smokes! Okay, yeah, they must have. You must have signed a contract at ESPN to say that.
ESPN, aren't they the ones that hate Lamar Jackson, first off?
I don't know. I don't know. I feel like everybody loves Lamar Jackson. I don't know.
I do it. I told you before. He's a better version of Michael Vick. What's not to like there? Now,
Show me the hardware.
matchup.
What's he got?
He's got more rushing yards and a better passing rate than Michael Vick through
He's got far more individual accolades than his team has collectively in the last 10 years.
Hold on. We're comparing him to Michael Vick. Michael Vick doesn't have any freaking team accolades to go in his career.
We ain't comparing him to Michael Vick. We're comparing him to the other quarterbacks in the North.
Well, then he's just about on par with everybody else. I mean, we got a couple MVP candidates who've never really won anything, right?
Joe Burrow plays games in December and January. I often see Lamar Jackson nursing. I see Lamar Jackson nursing a sore knee, typically November, December time.
One season makes Gingy very, very salty. So we got San Francisco at Pittsburgh. And Laskers, who you like in this game? What you like as a score? And who is your X Factor?
All right. This is going to make all of us mad, but I'm feeling this 49ers. And I'm feeling 24-17. And I don't like this X Factor, but it's McCaffrey. We can't stop the run.
Gingy. Hey, Keanu Ben would like to have a word with you in a closed space, Laskers.
Gingy coming in hot. Give me the Steelers on a home opener at Acrisure, 23-20 in a nail biter. We're going to see a relatively defensive game. We're probably going to see a couple of sloppy offenses, and we're going to have a few touchdowns here and there, but we're going to have a battle of the defenses, in my opinion. Which one of the young quarterbacks is going to be able to stay alive when the $100 million pass rusher is coming after them? Because each team has got one.
Fair. Your X Factor was?
My X Factor is going to have to be TJ Watt. It's really stereotypical first week to go that way, but look at
sake of Gingy stealing my thunder the last 2 weeks. I'm just getting very irritated right now, Gingy. You're going to start going second. You're going to start going second.
That guy has such a motor. Look at week 1 last season. Look, he absolutely manhandled the entire Bengals team that entire game before he got injured. The opener last year. Absolutely manhandled them. And I have a feeling that he's going to come out the same way this year, but hopefully let's stay healthy.
I got the Steelers 27-17, TJ Watt being the difference maker. Yes, Laskers, I agree the Steelers have struggled in the run game, but I'm going to tell you 2 names that weren't here last year that are certainly going to be here and noticeable this year, and that is not starting defensive tackle Montravius Adams. That guy can go, back up the guy who should be starting. That's Keanu Benton out there at the nose, and that is Quan Alexander out there in middle linebacker. I think you're going to see a new form Steelers team. I think you're going to see the running games start to be stopped by the Steelers defense, and you're still going to see tight ends absolutely rip us. I think both touchdowns go to Kittle. I think that's where the Niners are going to exploit, but I really feel the Steelers' run D is going to show up and is going to show out with these new guys there, and hopefully Ogunjobi's healthy enough to play. So I guess that means it's time. Closing thoughts. Laskers go. Gingy go, if anyone has a closing thought to say.
I don't have much, but let's go Steelers.
Gingy.
Man, it's my favorite time of year. Getting excited for week 1. Going to be a real exciting season this year, Donkey. I think the AFC North is really strong. And we're going to have to see how that division goes.
On paper, it certainly is. On paper, the whole AFC is strong. What is up with the NFC? That's the question. Nobody really knows what's going to happen. Heck, maybe Detroit's the class of football this year. As of right now, we have to do shout-outs. Laskers, do you have one before the season starts?
You know what? Yeah, I got one. And it has nothing to do with football, but hey, everyone's going to miss Jimmy Buffett. So shout out to Jimmy Buffett.
That's true. Passed away on the 1st, I believe. Gingy, you have any shout outs?
Shout out to the refs. All right, they need some inspiration. It's week 1 for them too. Donkey, watch that game on Thursday night. Yo, that's such a hard job, for real. Making sure that that's consistent throughout the game, not getting shout out refs. You know, maybe they don't deserve it, but I'm going to try to lift their spirits up with my shout out because I want to see a better call.
To the last
I want to see a
call
better
a
called game between the Steelers and the Niners than what I witnessed on Thursday. That's what I want. So I'm gonna give them a benefit of the doubt. Shout out refs. Come on.
Hey, if the refs want to wait to the most important drive of the game to start calling penalties on the Niners and it helps us win, I'm all for it. But
listen, I know they can do better than
that. Game.
I know they're gonna do better than that on Sunday.
I guess it's time for me to give a shout out, and I'm going to give it out to Mike Tomlin. How about this coach who hasn't had a losing season yet? Don't you dare start now. This is my shout out / call out. You better get it done, Tomlin. Let's go. Now it's time. Let you know. I'm the Viking Donkey. That's Viking_Donkey on Twitch and Twitter. I mean the X. Laskers, I got it this time. Your daily dose of Donkey with Ginger is the YouTube channel where you get to catch all this fun content. Be sure to listen for the bug cap after the game happens prior to Steelers talk taking place. Power rankings won't come till about week 5 because, well, honestly, I don't do power rankings till week 5 because who knows how good any team is after 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks of football. That's all I got. Laskers, hit them up.
Oh, the Laskers everywhere, and I also don't remember calling you out for calling Twitter the X. So I'm just going to defend myself on that one.
We'll have to check the tape on that, Laskers. Gingy in the house. We're hanging out. The boys. Talking football. Playing some games. Folks, it's week 1. If you don't know where your towels are at, holy smokes, where are you Are you living under a rock? You got to find them things. You got to find that beverage, that easy chair. Make sure that you're locked in. Steelers fans, home opener, baby. Wave them if you got them. Let's go.